are compatible with science, except the theory of metempsychosis or cycle of birth and birth and rebirth and so on. That part is incompatible with science. Now, what I'm suggesting is this. Well, suppose the materialist theory of mind is correct. That is, all your mental state, including Buddha nature, enlightenment, everything in your brain can be explained eventually in terms of brain processes in your skull, in your head. Then Buddhism and science can be good friends. Like what? Consciousness is like a functioning of the brain and the neurons and so on. And my hypothesis is this. When people die, in the case of a flower and the seed, right? The flower dies, but there's a seed, right? And you can bury it, and then no plant comes out of What if in our brain, what you call karma means actions, result of certain actions are stored. Like what? Learning a language. Learning a language, this is well programmed. The most marvelous computer, according to Henrik, programmed. Try to forget your English. Why can't you forget? Unless you destroy your brain, you can never forget it. Then why people become, forgettable and like in extreme cases like Alzheimer's disease? Because a part of the brain is deteriorating and so on. You see? So, my hypothesis, I don't know, in 3000 AD or 4000 AD, somebody may come up and prove what I said, is this. When a person dies, what you call karma is formed in the brain. And I told you, in a cell phone, the little thing, the chip there, you can store millions of those, what do you call the message, what do you call that? Informations, what do you call that? Text, the informations. And if you click, it goes right away to Australia. I always use Australia. Or South Africa. Within less than a second, okay? Imagine that, by the way, if the formation of the karma is not very strong, it's going to scatter, it doesn't go. So some kind of moral import of this whole story is this. You have to form a good habit, that is a good faith in your own being. If what the Buddha taught is correct, you have the Buddha nature. However, if you are not enlightened to your Buddha nature, and then use your mind at random and so on, eventually there won't be a very good seed. Are you with me? You start with a good apple tree, but at the end you're going to have a very, what do you call that? Some kind of apple, what do you call apple? Poor thing. No good. So it seems throughout our life we have to program our brains by thinking well, speaking well, doing well, and understanding well. And that's the way you can guarantee that when you take your software out of your hardware, it will move to another computer. Make sense? It all depends what kind of program you are going to develop throughout life. Well, I spent the whole 30 minutes without getting into the truth of Ironsan. I think this is the very interesting hypothesis and more to science eventually. Why? I didn't know that my brain is such a great thing. Brain. If you think that mind, consciousness could be independent of your brain, wrong. So we have to take good care of remember, you are what you eat and breathe and drink. If you take bad things, the bad to your brain is no good. So you have to feed well your brain, both materially and also mentally, because a mental state is none other than, according to this theory, functioning of the brain, and the thinking well, it somehow stores in your brain, in a memory. And by the time you die, you are just ready to move with the great one. What do you think?